Dear Diary, would you have believed it when we got this job, Teddy? But with 2 games to go in the season, we are on the verge of winning the league and automatic promotion. We had a little gap going into the championship group phase and have managed to extend it out to 5 points. We somehow got a late equaliser with 10 men against Town and backed it up with wins against Armagh City and Lisburn Distillery. Distillery. Hopefully we confirm top spot in this next game against Tobermory United so we can rotate in our last league game heading into the Intermediate Cup final. Do you smell a double incoming? No? Did you fart then, Teddy? Oh dear. Until next time. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 9 of FMOE here on Shaun Does FM with Banbridge Town. I hope you are doing well, and coming up in today's episode we wrap up the first season of this save. There are 2 games left in the league season. We just need 1 win from those, 2 guaranteed top spot and a title in our first season in charge. And off the back of that we take on Ballymoney United in the final of the Irish Intermediate Cup. So hopefully we can pick up a double in this first season of the save. So if you are looking forward to this one, which will also include the end of season review, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But as mentioned in the intro, we are in quite a strong position, having played a few games in this championship group phase off the back of our semi-final in that Irish Intermediate Cup in the last episode. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. As mentioned, we actually picked up a really important point in our first game in that championship phase. Ronan Culler getting a first half red card off the back of Town taking a first half lead at home, but Max Fisher with a massive goal in the 87th minute, and from there we picked up wins against Armagh City at home and Lisburn Distillery away. So we only need 1 win from these last couple of games in our league season to make sure that we do pick up the title. Tobermory United, a win here, or at least a point at the very least, would actually guarantee us a spot in that playoff anyway if we did happen to drop down to second. But I do think a point here should be enough with our goal differential advantage that we do have over Town. So hopefully we can get the job done at home in this first of the 2 remaining league games and just skip over that second one and then jump straight in to that Intermediate Cup final, which really we should be winning. But our first game today is against Tobermory United. They are a team who for the large majority of the season and coming into this championship group phase were actually sitting in second on the league table. So at the moment they have just dropped outside that in behind Town. Quite a similar sort of outfit compared to us when you do consider the media prediction there. They were predicted to finish 11th, so already overachieving here are Tobermory United, and also they are playing with a 4-4-2 as well. But hopefully this is the game where we can secure the league title here in this third tier of Northern Ireland. In terms of our team going into this game, we have one change that we have had to make going into this one, and that is because Lumi Conway has picked up too many discipline points with a yellow card in his most recent game, so he is suspended for this one. What that does mean is that Sam Robb, who's actually been doing a decent job recently when stepping in for Ronan Culler off the back of that red card in that first game of this championship group, which was against Town, he will switch out left to replace Lumi Conway, with Culler coming back into the team because, as mentioned, Rob has been doing a good job in his absence, and that does mean our bench is pretty similar to what it usually would have been anyway over the past few games in this championship group phase. But apart from that, the rest of our team is at full strength, and hopefully we can get the job done here and just have that little rest in the final game of the league season heading into that Irish Intermediate Cup final, and hopefully can pick up a double in our first season in charge. And we'll come back shortly and get into the action as we look to seal the title, taking on Tobermory United from Crystal Park. And 10 minutes into this one, we have the first highlight. We are playing in the black today. For some reason, the goalkeeper there with a bit of a fumble from that header far post from Max Fisher. They just clear that off of the line, so the first decent chance there is in our favour, but still 0-0 coming up to the 20-minute mark. And that was the lone highlight of that first half, so it is still 0-0. But as you can tell, stats-wise, we have well and truly been on top of Tobermory United in this first half. So hopefully we can pick up a goal in the second half to make sure that we are Crown League champions. With one game left in the season, we are going to make one change at half-time. Harrison Sodjay only going okay out there on a 6.4. Joshua Quinn can come on for him, but hopefully a bit more action coming up in the second half as we get things back underway. Locked up at 0-0. And finally, something else happening in this game. 10 minutes into the second half, we do have a throw, which they do deal with there, do Tobermory United, but Jack Steers is there to tidy things up, and we'll play that all the way back to Hunter in goal for us here at Banbridge Town. Takes his time on the ball. We'll play this one forward to Snorin. It's a long ball forward, but that is going to be dealt with by Moore in goal for Tobermory. Hopefully, we pick up a goal soon here, because so far, we have certainly been the better team in this game, but nothing to show for it as yet. We try and play a nice ball forward that I think that would have been for Max Fisher, but they do deal with it there, do the defence of Tobermory United, but yet again Steers is there to tidy things up, plays that one forward to the OG and Jack Gallagher. Nice ball forward there from Quinn. Fisher is going to win the race to it. His first shot comes off the base of the left-hand post, but he follows that up really nicely and just tucks that away with no one in the way at all. Off the back of grabbing the lead, we are going to drop back from attacking to positive just to make sure we might be a little bit more solid at the back. But Fisher, his first shot comes off the post, but from there, he is the only player who has any chance of scoring that. No defenders in the way. It was pretty much a given, and we take a 1-0 lead here, 10 minutes into the second half of the second to last league game of the season, albeit right off the back of that, we do have potentially a highlight here in favour of Tobermory United, albeit yet again Jack Steers is there to tidy things up, and now we start to get on the attack here, starting to get some bodies inside the final third. We nearly lose our own position there, but now some good short passing here right on the edge of the box. OG Gallagher plays that one out to Quinn, who's had a bit of an impact here off of the bench, and he's going to pick up another assist, albeit wasn't actually credited with one for that first goal. But Stephen McKevitt, who's been on a little bit of a dry spell in the latter part of this season, he comes up with a goal right off the back of his strike partner getting one, and not too long off the back of this game being locked up at 0-0. It is now 2-0 here at Crystal Park. McKevitt just sneaks that one inside that left-hand post, and we now have a 2-goal cushion. And very shortly off the back of that second goal, we are on the attack yet again, albeit Tobermory United here do get a chance to try and play out from the back, but happy with the second half so far, grabbing that 2-goal cushion. And yet again, we are on the attack. Fisher, right on the edge of the box, puts a ball in there for McKevitt. It hits the side netting on the wrong side of the post, and we still have our 2-goal lead. And right off the back of that highlight, there is another one. So lots happening here in between the 55 and the 60-minute mark. They try and play a ball over the top, but Quinn, who has had quite a good impact at left back off of the bench, is able to deal with that, plays a ball forward, but Tobermory here are in possession. It's a bit iffy there though, that time from Quinn, but thankfully his near assist there for the other team gets put just over the bar and just past the hour mark. We do still have a 2-0 lead, and while we are here, I think we are going to make a substitution. A few players out there on a yellow card. Ronan Culler, the one who has the worst rating. And I think what we might do with Sam Robb doing a decent job out on the left wing, one of our youth intake players, and Stephen Doyle is on the bench. We'll give him some game time and see what he can do here in this last half hour as we look to seal the league title 2-0 up. A couple of minutes off the back of that substitution, yet again we are down the other end here, attacking, albeit this time Tobermory are able to deal with that and might get something going here potentially on the counter-attack. Stephen McKevitt though puts a foot in, he gets a second yellow card, and all of a sudden we are down to 10 men, albeit that's not going to change things too much for us here. We will go to a cautious mentality and just lower the tempo down quite a bit as well. Just make sure that we don't do anything too silly with that man disadvantage, but with it only being a striker who is going off, all that means is we are just going to play with one up front, but not great there from McKevitt, albeit he did get a goal, so can't complain too much. And with just over 20 minutes left, as we get things a little bit more defensive, we are still 2-0 up, but down to 10 men. And we've just entered the last 15 minutes of this game, and we do have a free kick here from just outside of our own box, and we get that out to Quinn, as mentioned earlier, who had quite a strong hand in those first two goals, but now it's a red card for Tobermory. So just like that, things have evened up, and with 10 minutes left, we still have a 2-0 lead, and they are down to 10 men. And while we are here, we will also make a substitution as well. Both of our centre-backs are on that red heart, so we're going to take off the one with the worst star rating, and that is Jack Steers. So Barclay from Newcastle United can come on for him, and also OG Gallagher is playing quite well, but we will take him off, and coming on for him will be Doyle. Those will probably be our last substitutions of this game, with there being no centre-back cover left on the bench after that substitution of Barclay. So I think that will do it, and we still have our 2-goal lead with 10 minutes left, but now both teams are down to 10 men. And we have entered injury time in this one. Thankfully, of course, Tobermory United did go down to 10 men just after we did, so we have won the league, albeit no trophy celebration. That's a little bit disappointing, but nonetheless, we are the champions of the third tier of Northern Ireland, and that win does mean we are going to be going up automatically without having to play a playoff game against the team who do finish second last in the championship. So we are going up to the second tier in Northern Ireland next season, provided that we are still at Banbridge Town. But at the moment, very, very happy with how things are going here. But as you can see, we have indeed won the Telegraph Championship too, even though we got no trophy celebration, and it probably would have been the case anyway because Dollingstown were held to a draw by Lisburn Distillery. So we are the champions of the third tier here of Northern Ireland. We are going up to the championship next season. We'll just go forward and see what happens in the inbox off the back of this. And there is the further confirmation that we have won the third tier here in Northern Ireland. McCavitt is going to be banned for one match, but thankfully that is the meaningless match we do have coming up against Moyola Park. We have our initial transfer budget. This could be interesting. Hopefully we get a boost to the wage budget at the very least if we are going to compete in a tier above this, especially with teams coming down from the Premiership in Northern Ireland as well, who will no doubt have a lot more money than we do here at Banbridge Town. And it's not an awful budget at all. £800 a week to spend on wage, still no transfer budget, but that is certainly something that we can do something with. Hopefully we can tie down some of these players who are currently on loan at the club, or at least actually sign some who will be our own players. So a little bit to work with there, £800 a week going into the championship next season and going up just a little bit more there. You can see already we are one of the better New Zealand managers of all time. Doesn't really say too much there for the quality of managers coming out of New Zealand, and above that we get a lot of happy things here happening off the back of clinching the Belfast Telegraph Championship 2 here. OG Gallagher praises us, which is very nice. The fans want a deal struck for Max Fisher. I do too, but we'll see how likely that is, because I do think he is getting paid quite a handsome wage over at Tranmere. But we have won the league with one game spare in the season, so we'll play that one off camera, recap you guys with what happens in that game, and come back and give you guys a team update before we try and make it a double in the Irish Intermediate Cup final. And we are back, just about to take part in the Irish Intermediate Cup final. As you can see on screen, we did actually win our final game of the league season, despite the fact that, as you can see, we pretty much put out a full rotation for that game. So quite an impressive display there, especially after going 1-0 down. So we finished the season with a 3-2 win over Moyola Park, and that does mean that this is how the league table did finish. As you can see, the playoff is going to be between Tobermory United and Newington Youth to see if Tobermory United can get promoted into that championship as well. So obviously that means that Dollingstown did somewhat bottle things in their last couple of games, which is such a shame, of course, with those guys being our rivals. But we go up in the end, winning the league very comfortably by 9 points, and also with a record for this division. Dollingstown do just miss out, and the team who are going down out of this division is going to be Port Stewart for next season. But we don't care about that too much, because of course we are going up to the championship. It will be interesting to see if Tobermory United do join us up there. But we are about to take part in our first cup final of this save. It is the Irish Intermediate Cup, when we are taking on a team called Ballymoney United. These guys come from a non-playable division here in Northern Ireland. So based on that, I would like to think this is quite a winnable game for us, and hopefully we can make it a double here at Banbridge Town in our first season in charge. You would like to think we've got past better teams on our way to this final in the likes of Dollingstown and Queen's University Belfast over the last few episodes. But in terms of our team going into this one, we hopefully, as I said, we can make it a double. We are back to full strength because Conway comes in for Sam Robb, who does drop to the bench, of course, having served that suspension. That is the only change from that first game that you did see from today's episode. So hopefully it will be a very successful first season here at Banbridge Town, picking up the league as well as this Irish Intermediate Cup. It is going to be our last chance to win this trophy as well, unless something does go horribly wrong and we do end up back in this division. So hopefully we can win it while we do still have the chance to, and we'll come back shortly with the action as we take on Ballymoney United in the Irish Intermediate Cup final. And only a few minutes into this game, we have our first highlight. We are in the mostly red today, and Ballymoney United are in the blue with the white trim. They are playing a 4-3-3 here, so quite similar formations. So it'll be interesting to see who does come out on top of it off the back of our league season. You would like to think it is going to be us, and we start to get something going here potentially down this left-hand side with Conway back from his suspension. Now Max Fisher, who is going to end up as the leading goal scorer for the club this season, is on the ball. Conway there, nice ball into the mixer. McCavitt with a shot, but it comes off the post, unfortunately. So this is the first chance of this game. It remains 0-0, but right off the back of that, we now have a free kick. We try and pick out Keller there at the far post, but Steers does track back to tidy things up, and McLaughlin will ping this one out to Conway, and that ball gets headed back to Cowan. Nice little dink over the top there for Conway, and yet again McCavitt hits the post. So a few good chances there for our star striker to open the scoring, but 10 minutes into this one, it is still 0-0. Now there's a highlight, a free kick, and one of the Ballymoney players was off the pitch for the start of that, but good work there from Cowan to initially get the ball back for us. We get it back though off the back of that clearance eventually from Ballymoney United, so a bit happening early in this game at the moment. Some long balls forward, and there's a foul on Fisher. I thought that McCavitt there, who headed that ball down for him, might have been offside, but obviously that was not the case, and a great chance here for us to get off to a good start from the penalty spot. And Max Fisher, with one of the better penalties I've seen from a Banbridge Town player this season, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, buries that in the bottom left corner, and 12 minutes into this one in this cup final, we grab a 1-0 lead. And a short chance for me there to catch my breath, because right off the back of that penalty, another highlight has started here off the restart with Ballymoney United in possession, but a good start from us so far in this game. Two good chances for McCavitt to open the scoring, and then a penalty which Max Fisher did put away. Slightly debatable penalty, I suppose, when I did think McCavitt might have been offside, but nonetheless it was given, it was put away, and we will take that 1-0 lead early here in this Irish Intermediate Cup final. Now Hunter, with a long ball for Fisher there, runs off his defender's shoulder, and yet again will put the ball in the back of the net. A lovely finish there from Max Fisher, who might be playing one of his last games here in a Banbridge Town shirt. If we can't get him back to the club, of course, coming from England, the wage he will be after might be quite high if we did want to sign him on a permanent basis. But lovely chest forward there, rockets that into the bottom left corner with his right foot, and already we have a 2-0 lead here in this cup final. And as I was about to wrap things up, another highlight here starting with a goal kick to Ballymoney United. They do win that ball in the air, but then McLaughlin does get a foot in. He hoofs that deep, albeit in the general vicinity of no one, but then Ballymoney United also try and play that forward, and we win possession. Now Fisher will head that one down for his strike partner in Stephen McCavitt, and he rockets that into the top right corner. So a brilliant start for us in this game. Only 15 minutes into it, we already have a 3-0 lead, and it does look like here it might be the case of men against boys, as I somewhat suspected with these guys not being in a playable division. That's a really nice finish that from McCavitt, first time, and only 15 minutes into this one, we already have a 3-0 lead. And just as I was about to try and wrap things up yet again, another highlight here coming from the restart. Ballymoney United are going to need to get something going very, very soon in this one if they want to keep their hopes of cup glory alive. Strong, of course, who was off the pitch a little bit earlier with an injury, still carrying that somewhat, but is going to play on. Tried to play a ball forward there, but we do get it back. Now Snodden with a long ball forward, and yet again Max Fisher is going to win the race for this one. Conway puts that one into the mixer, and now Stephen McCavitt does have a double to go alongside Max Fisher. And only 17 minutes into this cup final, it might be all over Red Rover already. We are 4-0 up and this could get very, very ugly if it continues in this fashion. Max Fisher there to grab that ball and then come away. Lovely ball in there for McCavitt, who rifles that home. 4-0 Banbridge Town in less than 20 minutes. And we go forward to just past the half-hour mark. I think from this point forward, we're going to be a little bit picky here with the highlights that we do show you guys, because it does look like this game might be a little bit of a whitewash, but we are on the attack here just past the half-hour mark, knocking the ball about just outside the final third. There's a great chance for Max Fisher to complete his hat-trick. He puts that one in the top right corner, and that makes it 5-0 inside the first half, and surely that is this game done and dusted, and we are going to pick up a double in our first season in charge here at Banbridge Town. Nice ball there from McLaughlin, and Fisher will complete his hat-trick to make it 5-0. And that is half-time here in this Irish Intermediate Cup final. It's been a very, very one-sided affair, though. Unfortunately, we are up by 5 goals to nil, so unfortunately for Ballymoney United, obviously I'm quite happy with how this is going, but we're probably going to be quite picky with our highlights here in the second half. No changes needed as we get things back underway with that 5-goal lead. And we've just entered the last 10 minutes of this game. We did make a sub about 20 minutes ago with Rob coming on for colour, and now Max Fisher off the back of that ball into the mixer is going to make it 4 goals here in a cup final. He starts to do the Carlton, which of course we saw a bit of in the last episode, but that is going to make it 6 of the best. No doubt that's going to be used in the post-match media. Max Fisher there with a nice header into the back of the net, and it is now 6-0 with a few minutes left in this cup final. And we're about to enter injury time in this cup final. It's been one-way traffic. Barclay did come on late there for Jack Steers, but this time we do see a trophy presentation, and wondering still where that actually was in the previous game where we did win the league. But there it is for the Irish Intermediate Cup, and we have picked up a double here in our first season in charge at Banbridge Town. Obviously helped out massively by all those loans, but we did play along with the rules, and it has benefited us here in Northern Ireland, and to go alongside our league title in the Championship too. We also win the Intermediate Cup off the back of a 6-0 win over Ballymoney United. Will come back shortly and get stuck in to the end of season review. And not too long off the back of that win in that cup final, we do have our end of season review here for this first season at Banbridge Town. And in this FMOE save, as you can see there, we did pick up 2 trophies and certainly overachieved on what the board were expecting from us in terms of new arrivals. Most of these are, of course, going to be through loans. A few players that were signed, but all of those were actually done when we were not at the club, so we didn't actually have much of an influence on that. And because of that, it doesn't actually look like there is a signing of the season. But in terms of average rating, the best player who came to the club was actually Max Fisher. Of course, when he first came here, didn't start off too well, but come the second part of the season, he really did kick into gear. 27 starts, 7 from the bench, 29 goals and 2 assists. Also very good was Lumi Kamwe with 36 appearances. Certainly a player who got some game time from the start. 17 goals and 10 assists. Did a great job for us both up front and out at left wing. And also Ronan Culler was also one of the stars of this season, coming in from Carrick Rangers. 34 appearances, 7 goals and 14 assists. But overall, obviously all those loans that we did bring in helped us to overachieve on what probably would have happened if we did bring in no one at all and just stuck to transfers, because with our wage budget, transfers were a little bit difficult there with the players who left us. We did actually let go of Michael McCavitt, of course, during the season. That was because he was getting a bit fed up with the game time he was getting here at Banbridge Town. He was a player with a little bit of promise. That was a bit unfortunate, but in the end, it helped out our dynamics to let go of him. But overall, we did some good transfer business, albeit it's not going to help the club out that much long term in terms of personnel, because trying to get those players back here might be a little bit difficult with an £800 per week wage budget. So we'll see how things go before we kick off the new season in tomorrow's episode. In terms of the results, obviously the league, that was a great result. We go up without the stress of having to play a playoff game, winning that by 9 points over Tobermory United. 16 wins, 6 draws and 5 losses from our 27 games. The Peaky Blinder Irish Cup, we made our way through to the first round, lost to top tier opposition in Larne, but overall the board quite happy with that because we were competitive. The same can be said for the League Cup. We made our way through there to the third round and got knocked out by Dundalk in a real close affair there. 3 goals to 2, the Irish Intermediate Cup. You just saw the final of that. We won that 6-0 over Ballymay United. So obviously the board are thrilled with that one. And also the Mid-Ulster Cup, we made our way through to the quarterfinal and lost 3-2 to championship opposition in Loughgall FC as well. So overall, really good first season here at Banbridge Town. We pretty much overachieved on everything that the board set out for us to do. So a very good first season here in Northern Ireland. The moments to remember, the biggest win was that one that you did just see in the Intermediate Cup final. The match to remember, apparently a 4-1 win away from home against Bangor in the league just before Christmas. And the goal of the season did come in the Mid-Ulster Cup, taking on a team who were also from a non-playable league too far down the pyramid here in Northern Ireland in the Rectory Rangers. And it was scored by one of our backup strikers on loan in George Herbert. This one happening very early on in this game. Here he is, the ball well outside the box. Anderson plays it back to him and he takes a shot from a long way out. I remember this one now, an absolute screamer just inside that top left corner from well outside the box. And now that I remember exactly who scored that goal, it was definitely the goal of the season, even though it did come against opposition who did leave a little bit to be desired, but still that was a wonderful goal and picks up our goal of the season. Obviously the finances here, everything is good. Our reputation has not gone up, which is somewhat surprising, but I suppose we are only going up to the second tier of Northern Irish football. And as you can see, we made £95 off of merchandise sales. Hopefully that goes up a little bit next season when we are in the championship. Here is our best 11 for this first season. Hunter in goal, McLaughlin, Steers, Snodden and Sodjay at the back. So that's pretty much what ended up being our first choice defensive line come the latter part of this season. Obviously in the midfield, that's pretty self-explanatory as well, with Keller at right wing, OG Gallagher and Cowan in the midfield, two players who were already here and very good quality who we were able to rely on in that midfield. And out left, Lumi Conway doing a great job on loan, and up front Stephen McCavitt, partners Max Fisher, who both got a ton of goals. And it's a very self-explanatory best 11 here for our first season at Banbridge Town, the team who did start the majority of games come the last few episodes of this first season. We make our way forward now to the award winners. The fans player of the season is Stephen McCavitt, the young player of the season Max Fisher. I imagine there wasn't too much between those two in terms of the overall award as well. We go down a little bit further. Of course, you did just see the goal of the season. Top goal scorer was Max Fisher with 29, the most assists Ronan Keller with 14, the most player of the matches Max Fisher with 9, and the highest average rating did go to McCavitt, which is probably the reason he did win that overall award with a 7.5. In terms of competition awards, there were none. So we go over to the record breakers, the most goals by a player in a season, Fisher with 29, as well as league goals in a season with 15, and the most goals by a player in a match with 4. Also, the most goals by a player in a league match went to Lumi Conway when he got a hat-trick. Most assists by a player in a season, Ronan Keller with 14, the most clean sheets, Hunter with 14, the most player of the matches. You just saw Fisher with 9. The worst discipline actually goes to Ronan Keller, 6 yellow cards and 1 red card. Connor Downey, who's probably one of the players who might be on the chopping block, albeit with his physio attributes, might be a player that we do keep around just for that alone, but he now has the most league appearances by a player for the club with 77. The most league goals by a player overall is McCavitt with 33. We had our youngest player, Doyle, at 15 years and 129 days. You might also see Barry Alexander make his way into the first team for season 2 here at Banbridge Town. The oldest player, Kevin Anderson, who is retiring at 35 years old off the back of this season. George Herbert with that goal, which did win goal of the season. That picked up the fastest goal, and he was also the youngest goal scorer with that one as well, and the oldest goal scorer here at Banbridge Town. Connor Downey at 33 years old. As I said, he is probably now going to move into more of a physio role at the club, and there you see a few little media blurbs explaining that we did do quite a good job to pick up that double here at Banbridge Town. And one of the new features for this year's game, of course, is the Dynamic Manager timeline. As you can see, 17th of July, we did get this job. We pulled off a big upset early on in the League Cup as we did beat a championship team in Harland and Wolf Welders by 3 goals to 2. Not too long off the back of that, though, apparently we went on a bit of a rough patch with 3 straight losses, which doesn't actually seem that bad, but apparently it was a new low for the club. But then we made our way through to 2023. We set a new club record as we won 5 matches in a row. We found some future stars come through our youth intake, the likes of Stephen Chisholm, Gary Murray, and Stephen Doyle, as well, of course, as Barry Alexander, as I said, a player to keep an eye out on for next season. He might get involved at left wing. And then, of course, when we did secure the league, we were inducted into the Northern Ireland Hall of Fame. We picked up the Telegraph Championship too, and also set a points record with 51. Actually ended up being 54, I believe, by the time that we did win that last game of the season, as well as that we did win the Intermediate Cup, as you just saw. And also Max Fisher broke the club record for goals in the season with 29, and that does it for the Dynamic Manager timeline for our first season here at Banbridge Town. Hopefully that gets a little bit more interesting as we continue to go on in this save. But I think that pretty much wraps things up here for Season 1 of FMOE. Just having a quick look though at the supporter profile update. As you can see, a little bit of a switch there between the core fans and the family fans. A few of those family fans have now moved on to being course of this most recent season. We have gained 45 social media followers for those wins in the Cup as well as in the league, and hopefully we can do a decent job next season in our first season in the Championship. As you can see, the supporters, and I imagine the board as well, the expectation, indeed it is the case, is to attempt to avoid relegation from the Championship. Hopefully we can do some decent transfer business or loan business yet again, and hopefully make sure that is something that we don't really need to consider. Hopefully yet again we can try and make our way into that Championship group for the latter stages of the season in our second season in charge here at Banbridge Town, provided that a club which looks a little bit more enticing does not come after us. But at the moment, quite happy with things here at Banbridge Town, and hopefully one more good season here at the club, and maybe we start to get a bit of attention on us and can potentially then start looking at a move somewhere else. But as I said, I think that will do it for the first season here of FMOE. We ended up picking up 2 trophies, the league and the Irish Intermediate Cup. If you did enjoy it, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll come back tomorrow, do a bit of a transfer recap, and maybe also play our first game in the Championship for the start of Season 2 here at Banbridge Town, unless something does come up and we end up leaving. But as I said, I think that's a little bit unlikely, having only spent 1 season at the club. And also, while we are here, one other quick thing to update you guys on. Now that the season has ended, we are about to go and take our coaching course for the National A licence as well. We're definitely going to make the most of that, while we do have a club who is willing to pay for those coaching licenses. But as I said, we'll come back tomorrow and start off Season 2 with a transfer update and hopefully a game as well. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.